I want to thank you all for coming tonight. I feel really blessed that you took me up on my invitation, and kind of nervous, so that's okay. The guy's taping me, got my mic on, never have done that before. So I also have note cards, so if I drop them, Paul's got a copy back there, so if I can pick them up real fast, you know, so we won't fail. But I want to start off with something, you know, we all go through those markers in life, and for most men, the first time that you're called sir, you're kind of like, whoa, I'm only 21. Well, I just had one of those markers the other day. By my house, there's a bakery. It's the Franz Bakery, and you can smell it every morning when you're getting up. And they have a second day or day-old bakery that you can go into 7 days a week till 7 o'clock at night. And they've got these great ladies from the neighborhood, Central District. They're black. And they're just great. And when you buy something, they give you something. So like if you buy a loaf of bread, they give you 12 donuts, okay? So anyway, so I go in there and I've got this incredible sweet tooth going on, right? So I thought, okay, I'm gonna get those little, you know those little chocolate donuts, like those Hostess chocolate donuts? Really cheap, 48 cents, okay? So I grab like 6 of them, I take them up, I put them on the counter, you know, and I pull out my wallet, and she goes, would you like the senior discount? And I'm like, huh? And she goes, honey, how old are you? And I said, I'm 55. And she goes, you got it. And so she gave me the senior discount. So I thought I better have some cards in case something goes wrong, in case I kind of screw up. So tonight we're going to talk about the 4 agreements. A lot of you have read the book, Manuel Ruiz, and I'm going to give you my interpretation. And a lot of you have heard my interpretation before, but I just want to go over that again. And it's a great book. I think it's a great code of ethics, okay? And one of the things that I believe that we're missing at this time in our culture is people having their own code of ethics that they live by. Because we tend to be blown around by what we think is important or what other people think is important. So I want to start off with a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. And it talks about the first agreement, which is you need to be impeccable with your word. And what does that mean? And Mahatma Gandhi said that one's word was the single most powerful tool the world will ever know. You can inspire a child to greatness or relegate them to a life of shame and guilt. Gossip is the lowest form of communication between human beings. Its only effect is to feed a feeble ego, where no self-esteem and self-worth combined with a sense of inferiority claims the human spirit. That's what your word can do. So one of the first ones is the being impeccable with your own word. Let's look at the word first, impeccable with your word. Impeccable comes from the Latin words em means without, and then pecta, which is where it comes from, means without sin, okay? Now, most of us grew up in Christian homes or some kind of religious thing where sin was talked about. Sin means going against yourself, going against yourself, going against your nature as a human being. So when you are being impeccable with your word, it means to go without being against yourself. You have to be true to yourself. Where do we start on being impeccable or not impeccable with our word? We learn that as children. We learn it as children. As human beings, we're social animals. We want to belong to the pack. We know that we're safer in the pack, we're safer in the group, we're safer in the family. But to be part of that family, if you tell the truth, sometimes it's not what people want to hear, especially what comes out of little kids' mouths. And you're stopped. And you learn very quickly not to tell the truth. Not to tell the truth for yourself, and not to tell the truth to other people. Because if you tell the truth, it might not work out with other people in the family. So, you learn to do this so that you get accepted, you get loved, and maybe you get a role in that family. Either you're the good kid, the bad kid, the funny kid, the smart kid, the athletic kid, the overachieving kid, the underachieving kid, you name it. You get a role in that family, and that means that you have a place, and therefore you get to feel safer. You've got to remember also that the brain, the human brain, is predisposed to be negative. It likes to do gossip. It likes to tell lies, okay? Because if you think about it, go back 70,000 years when you're at the whim of the environment, you're going to constantly be looking for famine, wars, disease, how to stay alive. So it's predisposed to go to the negative. That's why it's so much easier for us to talk in and join into groups, and when they're talking about other people, like around the water cooler, or to engage in negative talk. Because your brain is automatically negatively predisposed. You have to make a choice. You have to make a choice not to say something, not to say something disparaging to somebody, because people will take it as the truth. One of the things that has been prevalent in every spiritual tradition is they say if you want to know peace, you must tell the truth. In the Gospel of St. Thomas, which was found in 1946 in Egypt, one of the conversations between the Christ and Thomas was that Thomas said, "You said that the kingdom of heaven is inside of you. Peace, bliss, nirvana, whatever you want to call it, is inside of you. It's not up there, it's not down there. How did we get there?" And one of the conversations that the Christ had with Thomas was, number one, don't lie. Do not lie. And that can be in a lot of forms. If you're using a credit card and you're keeping high balances on it, what are you saying? You're saying you have more money than you have. That's a lie. And then you start distorting yourself. You have to work more to pay it off. You start not having the freedom that you need. Second thing he said there was, don't do what you hate. Hate is a very strong word in Aramaic. It means don't distort yourself. Don't go against yourself, that impeccability. Don't go against what you know is to be the truth for yourself. So that's the first one. You need to be impeccable with your word, because if you don't have a reputation. And if people can't trust you, you do not have a relationship. You do not have a relationship. If you've ever known people that they have told fibs, exaggerations, where is your trust level with that person, and how much of a relationship do you have with them? Now, there's going to be times where you're going to need to hold back, not out of omission, but it's maybe not the time and place for that intimate conversation about telling the truth, because people can get hurt. Not in a bad way, but they can't hear. They can't hear because they got their own stories running at the same time. So, if you want to have good relationships, if you want to have a good ethical foundation where people trust you and they know that your word is good, you must tell the truth and speak it in that language that they know.